Para comenzar esta sesión extraordinaria del CIDI, agradecer a la presencia del secretario general, Albert Randín, de los representantes permanentes, de los integrantes de la Secretaría Ejecutiva de Desarrollo Integral. Damos la bienvenida entonces a esta reunión extraordinaria. Permítame comenzar con algo muy breve. Como ustedes saben, estamos en un momento particularmente significativo de este Consejo. Ayer conmemoramos 30 años del CIDI y tuvimos la oportunidad de no solo mirar lo hecho, sino reafirmar el valor que tiene este espacio como espacio de diálogo político sobre desarrollo, prosperidad y cooperación. Si algo me parece que quedó claro en ese intercambio, es este vínculo que existe entre las decisiones y el espacio de debate político, de discusión política, las decisiones que se adoptan y lo operativo. Y que esto depende fundamentalmente de nuestras instituciones aquí en la OEA y en particular el brazo ejecutor que es la Secretaría de Desarrollo Integral. De conformidad con el documento que se distribuyó en los días anteriores, 170/26, quiero someter entonces a consideración de las delegaciones el proyecto de orden del día. De no haber objeciones, lo damos por aprobado. Pasamos a la consideración del nombramiento de la embajadora Isabel Valois como secretaria ejecutiva para el desarrollo integral de conformidad con los artículos 117 y 120 de la Carta de la Organización de Estados Americanos. La consideración del nombramiento por parte del secretario general de la embajadora Valois como secretaria ejecutiva para el desarrollo integral tiene conformidad con los artículos citados de la Carta de la Organización. En ese contexto y considerando la relevancia estratégica de la Secretaría Ejecutiva para el funcionamiento y la proyección de este Consejo Interamericano, tengo el honor de conceder la palabra al señor secretario general para la presentación formal de esta candidatura. Adelante, secretario.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente, and thank you very much. Good morning to all permanent representatives and staff of the OES present. Mr. Chair, following yesterday's celebration on the 30th anniversary of CIDI, I believe it's an opportune time to speak to you about the proposed appointment of a new executive secretary for the Inter-American Council for Integral Development. As you know, within the organization, we are guided by two fundamental goals, peace and prosperity, to which we spoke yesterday at length. In today's context of global uncertainty marked by economic volatility, technological transformations, and evolving development challenges, these goals require not only strong vision, but also strong leadership. CIDI, as the engine behind the development pillar of our organization, plays a central role in advancing that prosperity agenda. It is through this body that we can translate dialogue into action and cooperation into tangible results for the peoples of the Americas. Investing in this pillar is therefore not simply an institutional priority, it is a strategic necessity. It is in this spirit that, pursuant to Article 117, 117, and 120 of the OES Charter, I have the honor to present to this Council the proposed appointment of Ambassador Isabel Valois of Canada as Executive Secretary for Integral Development. In our view, Ambassador Valois brings more than 3 decades of distinguished experience in international development and diplomacy, with a proven record across bilateral and multilateral contexts. She has demonstrated exceptional leadership in strategic policy development, the management of large and complex cooperation portfolios, donor coordination, and high-level political engagement. Her career spans regions as diverse as North Africa, the Middle East, South Asia, and the Americas. She has overseen major international cooperation initiatives, guided partnerships with governments, civil society, and multilateral actors, and managed complex teams and budgets with rigor and accountability. Her ability to operate effectively at both the political and operational levels, bridging high-level dialogue with program delivery, is precisely what this position demands. This depth and breadth of experience makes her especially qualified to head the Executive Secretariat for Integral Development at this critical juncture, as our member states call for greater impact, more efficiency, stronger coordination, and more agile and tailored support. I'm confident that under the leadership of Ambassador Valois, CIDI will continue to strengthen its role as a platform where multilateralism delivers results, where partnerships are deepened, and where our shared commitment to integral development advances the broader goals of peace and prosperity across the hemisphere. I therefore submit this appointment to the Inter-American Council for Integral Development for its consideration and approval. I do not want to close, Mr. Chairman, without acknowledging and thanking the previous Executive Secretary, Ms. Kim Osborne, for her dedication and contribution to the Organization of American States in different capacities, certainly lately as Executive Secretary of CIDI. And I want to also thank our colleague, Barbara Kochwa, for taking, in the period that we were searching for a candidate, the lead on in CIDI and coordinating many of the activities since then. So I hope that you will consider this proposed appointment in a positive manner, and I look forward to continuing the work with you and with CIDI. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General, for your words and the presentation. Pasamos entonces ahora a someter a consideración de los Estados miembros la propuesta presentada por el Secretario General. Voy a dar entonces el uso de la palabra a la embajadora de República Dominicana.
Buenos días, gracias, señor presidente. La delegación de República Dominicana agradece al señor secretario general, embajador Albert Branding, la presentación de la embajadora Isabel Valois para el puesto de secretaria ejecutiva para el desarrollo integral. Como se ha mencionado, la embajadora Valois tiene una larga trayectoria en el ámbito diplomático y ha alcanzado sólida experiencia en el ámbito de cooperación, gerenciando no solo la cooperación de su país, Canadá, sino también coordinando donantes en áreas como educación, comercio, gobernanza y crecimiento económico, entre otros. Ha desarrollado además parte de su vida profesional en regiones y países en los que ha aportado sus conocimientos y experiencias en derechos humanos, consolidación de la paz, dejando su impronta en trabajos con la sociedad civil, mujeres y jóvenes. Consideramos, señor presidente, que con estas credenciales que acompañan a la embajadora Valois, este Consejo Permanente podría aprobar su designación por aclamación.
Muchas gracias, señora embajadora. Le doy la palabra al señor embajador de Antigua y Barbuda.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. Mr. Chairman, my delegation is pleased to second the nomination of Ambassador Isabelle Valois of Canada for appointment as Executive Secretary for Integral Development. We particularly welcome the appointment of a Canadian national to this important post. Canada has consistently spoken in the United Nations, within the G7 and the G20, and in the OECD and in other international fora of its commitment to advancing the interests and development aspirations of developing states. We therefore regard this appointment as both appropriate and timely. At a moment of considerable turbulence in the international environment, the development pillar of the Organization of American States requires renewed energy, credibility, and more particularly, mobilization of resources. Strengthening CIDI is therefore an important way of giving the development pillar the strong support that it deserves. Developing states, particularly small and vulnerable economies, are increasingly compelled to devote scarce national resources to strengthening resilience against the effects of conflict, economic instability, climate-related pressures, and the continuing contraction of international development cooperation. My delegation believes that Canada and a Canadian serving in the office of the Executive Secretary for Integral Development can help to mobilize the partnerships and resources needed to strengthen the work of CIDI and to reinforce the development dimension of this organization. My delegation will not rehearse the considerable experience of Ambassador Valois. Her curriculum vitae speaks for itself. It reflects extensive diplomatic, developmental, managerial, and multilateral experience accumulated across several regions of the world, and in circumstances requiring both practical judgment and sensitivity. We are confident that Ambassador Valois will bring both energy and empathy to the Office of Executive Secretary. We also believe that she will help to foster innovative, entrepreneurial, and sustainable approaches to development cooperation, ensuring that projects undertaken by CIDI within member states are impactful, enduring, and genuinely beneficial to the peoples whom this organization serves. Accordingly, my delegation is pleased to second her nomination and to also second the motion that it be adopted by acclamation. We wish Ambassador Valois every success in the discharge of her responsibilities. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Muchas gracias, señor embajador. También Argentina me había pedido secundar la moción. Nos adelantamos un minutito, pero por favor, adelante con el uso de la palabra.
Gracias, señor presidente. Y luego de las excelentes intervenciones de la distinguida representante permanente de República Dominicana y Antigua y Barbuda, no me queda mucho para agregar, voy a ser breve. La delegación argentina agradece al secretario general por la nominación de la embajadora Valois para el cargo de secretaria ejecutiva para el desarrollo integral. Consideramos que su trayectoria, experiencia y compromiso con los objetivos del desarrollo integral la convierten en una excelente candidata para asumir esta importante responsabilidad y estamos confiados en que va a fortalecer los trabajos del CIDI y conseguir resultados concretos para los Estados miembros. Muchas gracias. Secundamos la moción, como dije.
Muchas gracias. Tiene el uso de la palabra la delegación de Estados Unidos.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning. It's my pleasure to express the United States support for the appointment of Ambassador Isabel Valois to the position of Executive Secretary for Integral Development. The appointment comes at a pivotal moment as we undertake preparations for the upcoming General Assembly and as member states consider the Secretary General's proposed strategic plan. The Executive Secretary's work supports core and vital pillar of this organization, which is an integral part of our region's shared success. The development pillar is not just about economic, social, and human growth. It's a strategic investment and the creation of opportunities that support democratic institutions, stability, human rights, and shared prosperity for our region. When our people have access to opportunity, they are better positioned to demand accountability, contribute to peaceful societies, and build futures in their home countries and communities. Addressing the challenges faced in our region is a top priority for the United States. We are focused on deepening partnerships that create real opportunities. Under Ambassador Valois' leadership, we are hopeful that the OAS and CIDI will continue to support the strengthening of the bond between neighbors who share not just geography, but commitment to freedom, democracy, and prosperity. Together, we can build a hemisphere that is more prosperous and more secure for all our people. My delegation looks forward to working closely with Ambassador Valois as Executive Secretary for Integral Development to advance our shared economic, social, and human development goals. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and congratulations, Ambassador Valois.
Muchas gracias. Tiene la palabra el embajador de México, señor embajador de México.
Gracias, presidente. Muy buenos días a todos y a todos. En nombre del Grupo Regional 10, felicitamos a la embajadora Isabel Valois por su nombramiento al frente de la Secretaría Ejecutiva para el Desarrollo Integral, que se da en el marco en que conmemoramos los 30 años del establecimiento del CIDI. Reconocemos en su trayectoria profesional su compromiso y experiencia en contextos multilaterales para el desarrollo de políticas estratégicas y en cooperación internacional. Particularmente celebramos que sea una mujer la persona que establece esta Secretaría Ejecutiva. Respaldamos su designación para acompañar a los Estados miembros en la promoción de acciones en favor del desarrollo integral y la eliminación de la pobreza como responsabilidad común y compartida de acuerdo con la Carta de la OEA. Confiamos en que durante su gestión se continúen impulsando acciones dirigidas al fortalecimiento y visibilidad del CIDI, se robustezca el diálogo político y se logren mayores sinergias con otros órganos de la organización. El Grupo 10 expresa su plena disposición para impulsar una agenda de desarrollo integral que responda a las necesidades de los Estados miembros, fortalezca sus capacidades nacionales y enfrente los desafíos que encaramos como región. En este contexto, los procesos sectoriales ministeriales tienen particular relevancia, ya que sus consensos y resultados se traducen en acciones y avances concretos en campos como la ciencia y la tecnología, la cultura, la cooperación, el desarrollo sostenible, el desarrollo social, la educación, trabajo, turismo y puertos. Le auguramos una exitosa gestión y reiteramos nuestro respaldo para un desarrollo integral que beneficie la vida de todas las personas en el hemisferio. Muchas gracias.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Y no habiendo más solicitud de uso de la palabra, esta presidencia se une a las felicitaciones a la embajadora Valois, que nos acompaña en línea. Hago una pequeña digresión. Tuve el placer y el honor de conocer a la embajadora cuando se desempeñaba como embajadora de Canadá en Uruguay, así que también personalmente mis deseos de éxito. Y bueno, y ofrecemos desde la presidencia del CIDI, por supuesto, el apoyo para trabajar de manera conjunta en la implementación de las prioridades de los Estados miembros. Quisiera entonces invitar a la embajadora Valois a dirigir unas palabras al Consejo Interamericano de Desarrollo Integral. Adelante, embajadora.
Bonjour, ¿me escucho?
La escuchamos, perfecto,
¿Sí?
embajadora, adelante.
Perfect. So before starting by saying my remarks, I would like to start with one apology and one disclaimer. The apology is for not being with you today in person. I wish I could have had the opportunity to meet you in person, but this will have to wait, but I'm sure it will come soon enough. Secondly is a disclaimer. As I sit here in Montreal in my Airbnb, there is a power outage. So I don't know why, but I cannot see you. And but I hope my phone will last for my remarks. So there you go. I start with one apology and one disclaimer. It's not the best way to start, but let me start with my remarks. Entonces, buen día, good morning, buenos días, bonjour. Monsieur le secrétaire général, Monsieur le Président, Excellences, distingués représentants des États membres. I am truly honored to be with you today and sincerely grateful to the Secretary General Albert Ramsey for the confidence he has placed in me through this nomination. I will also like to thank the member states of the Inter-American Council for Integral Development for your confidence and for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. It will be an honor to serve the organization, collaborate with colleagues within the OAS, CIDI, and CIDI, and to work closely with you to advance and share commitment to integral development, inclusion, and resilience across the Americas. I accept this responsibility with humility and respect. with a strong commitment to serve all countries of the Americas and their people. Against this background, I'm particularly pleased that I'm joining the OAS at this moment. Integral development lies at the heart of the hemispheric cooperation, and the work of CIDI is more relevant than ever. Across the Americas, countries are navigating climate vulnerability, economic transformation, digital change, social inclusion, and persistent inequalities, often all at the same time and frequently with limited resources. I'm very conscious that these challenges are not experienced equally and that they are particularly acute for small island developing states and for smaller and more vulnerable economies, including in the Caribbean and Central America. Addressing these disparities requires integrating development objectives more deliberately into our economic and trade strategies. When trade is aligned with development priorities, peace, and democratic values, it's become a powerful engine for job resilience and inclusion. By strengthening value chains, supporting SMEs, and advancing sustainable and digital trade that accelerate the transition to low carbon and resilient economies, we can ensure that the economic integration delivers lasting benefits for communities across the Americas. Over the course of my career, I have had the chance of working with many regions of the world, but the Americas hold a special place to me. My connection with the Americas began well before diplomacy, with formative experience living and working in Colombia, traveling, or more accurately, hitchhiking across Central America, Mexico, and the USA up until Canada, and volunteering with different communities. I later returned in different capacities, including as Canada ambassador to Uruguay. These experiences shaped my understanding of the Americas through people, landscape, and resilience, informed by my roots in the province of Quebec and by Canada's ongoing dialogue with Indigenous people, seen, bien sûr, from the perspective of a French Canadian strongly attached to Francophone culture. Colleagues, I'm very conscious that the OAS is operating in a demanding environment with rising expectations and significant resource constraints. That reality makes the role of CIDI and dedication of its team all the more important. I would especially like to recognize Mrs. Kim Osborne for all her contributions, hard work, and dedication. I am pleased that she will contribute her experience within CIDI as I look forward to working with the team and building on its ongoing efforts. Special thanks to Barbara Catoir for entering the interim and bringing CIDI forward and for so generously accompanying me for these first steps within the OAS. What draws me the most to the challenge ahead is the opportunity to work together, member states, the Secretariat, and partners, to focus our efforts, innovate where possible, and deliver timely results that are tangible and relevant not only for the countries, but also for the people of the Americas. I am keen to collaborate closely with the Secretary General and with all of you to ensure that CIDI's work remains practical, responsive, meaningful, and firmly anchored in national priorities. My approach is and will remain constructive and collaborative. I believe strongly in listening first, in respective diverse perspectives, and in building consensus through dialogue and trust. You can expect from me an open door, frank dialogue, a commitment to partnership, and a focus on outcomes that matters. Espero con entusiasmo trabajar juntos a ustedes y contribuir de manera concreta a un desarrollo más inclusivo, resiliente y equitativo para nuestra región. Merci beaucoup pour votre confiance. Muchas gracias. Muito obrigada. I look forward to joining you soon in Washington and beginning this work in person. Thank you so much.
Gracias, señora embajadora. También por sus felicitaciones por su designación, que también contribuye al equilibrio de género en los altos cargos de la organización, de lo cual nos congratulamos. Y invito a la sala a brindar un gran aplauso y dar la bienvenida a la nueva secretaria del CIDI. Muy bien, estamos en hora. Muchas gracias a todas, a todos. También me uno a las felicitaciones del saludo para Bárbara y para Kim, que bueno, me han ayudado, me han colaborado en estos primeros meses al frente de la presidencia del CIDI y han hecho un gran trabajo también al frente de la Secretaría. Para finalizar, ofrezco el uso de la palabra en otros asuntos. Si no hay solicitudes, sin más, damos por cerrada la sesión, agradeciendo a todas y a todos.